question many of us in Australia are asking at the moment, or some of us might be asking, and some of us don't give a shit, really is whether or not Susan Lee is going to remain in her post and whether net zero, whatever that means, is going to resonate with the public. I believe the answer is no. I don't think most people care what net zero is. All they care about is whether or not at the end of the day there is a possibility of the energy prices being lowered. And the argument is that as long as we're spending money building the infrastructure for wind and for wind and solar, well then, you know, the costs are going to be there. But at the end of the day, this is still the cheapest form of energy. This is the way it is. No one can argue differently to that, as much as people from Sky News will try. But the reality is that Susan Lee's days are numbered. So let's have a look at actually what happened in the leaders' room when they all got together and they all wanted to have a conversation about where they stood in relation to any of this. So the article in the Sydney Morning Herald is this: Susan Lee has brought herself some time as Liberal leader after stepping back from the brink of net zero oblivion and surrendering to the pressure of her party room. She survived this week, but she is far from safe. Many of the opposition leaders' most important allies sniffed the political winds and deserted her on Wednesday and sided with the dump net zero Conservatives during a 5-hour party room meeting. Within minutes of the meeting ending, a list of names was circulating that showed whether each Liberal member had spoken for and against net zero. There were 28 MPs who spoke in favour of dumping the policy, 17 who wanted to keep it, and 4 undecided. An alternative list later circulated that suggested the number of speakers for and against was a bit closer, but regardless, the result made for brutal reading. Lee's closest ally in politics, Alex Hawke, who spoke against net zero, and so did his loyal Lieutenant Melissa McIntosh, whom some MPs accused of trading her coat for the job of deputy leader in a new opposition team, playing the part of Brutus and Cassius. As expected, leadership rivals Angus Taylor and Andrew Hastie spoke against net zero, as did Wisehead James Patterson, Queensland numbers man James McGrath, and Senator leader Michaela Cash, thoroughly wedging the opposition leader. On Thursday, after a meeting of Liberal shadow ministers, Lee fronted up and explained why the coalition still believed in tackling climate change and remained committed to the Paris Climate Agreement, with an aspiration to reach net zero, but if elected, the party would formally scrap the legislated target of net zero for 2050 and fight for cheaper electricity. And the problem with all of that is that none of us knows what it means. We are lost in the wilderness, trying to wade our way through the forest, only to discover that at the end, as we come through the clearings, we see absolutely nothing that has value to anybody, because there is really nothing but vacant space there, which is the way the Liberal Party have sort of encapsulated this whole thing. So, but the Nationals have come out, and I just want to play this clip from X where the Nationals have come out and said it's going to cost some $1 trillion over the next 20 years in order to implement this program. And there's this great video that Hugh Rivington has produced that I think explains the obscurity and the lies that are going to be perpetrated by the Nationals in particular.
Climate change has always been messy. So let's start by getting the numbers right.
Labor's net zero by 2050 is going to cost the Australian people $9 trillion.
How much?
$9 trillion.
Break that down for us.
That's $5,000 per Australian per year between now and 2050.
Hang on a minute. Aren't we just a little bit out? $9 trillion is $9,000 billion. Divide that by the rough current population, 28 million. Divide that by 25 years to 2050. Wait on, that's nearly $13,000 a year for every Australian, not $5,000. Why isn't he warning us about that? Possibly because $9 trillion is a ridiculously outlandish figure. We asked David Littleproud's office where it came from, and they said Net Zero Australia, a conglomeration of climate experts and economists. But Net Zero Australia has told us the 9 trillion figure does not come from them. They put the total cost at $300 billion. Divide by 28 million for population, by 25 for years, $428 per person per year. All paid for, all done. Just 3% of the
$9 trillion
being quoted by the Nationals leader.
So there is going to be this effort, I think, to distort what this cost is likely to be. It won't be what anybody says. It won't be what the government says, because there'll be blowouts, there'll be lots of other stuff, there'll be the supply chains will fall apart. There'll be lots of reasons why this doesn't come to fruition in the way that people would have liked it. But it's not going to be what the National tells us, and it's not going to be what the Liberal Party tell us it's going to cost either. People are interested in only one thing, and that is how they can get their costs down. And to be fair to the Labor Party, they're making every effort to try and minimise those costs. The statement that Albanese made a few years ago when he was standing for the first time as Prime Minister of $275 was stupid. No disputing that. Had he never said that, they wouldn't have this argument about he broke a promise, because he did. He wasn't able to be committed to that. A lesson for politicians to learn. But nevertheless, will it be cheaper in the long run? Yes, it probably will. Will there be any solutions offered to us by the Liberal Party? No, there won't, because they don't have any. That's just the way it is. And there's also this other take, I guess, and we better be fair, because there has been some further discussions in relation to this from our friends over at Sky News.
At last, the Liberals have ditched net zero by 2050. Thank goodness. They never should have signed up to it, of course, in the first place. The pledge came out of the blue from Scott Morrison just 4 years ago, and the coalition has taken it to 2 elections with disastrous effect, while Labor's pursuit of net zero has pushed power prices up by $1,000 a year when they promised to bring them down by $275.
Australians deserve affordable energy and responsible emissions reduction. And the Liberal Party believes...
Of course, we don't know what those responsible reductions actually are and how they're going to go about achieving it, even though they are still in favour of renewables. So building and developing, windmills and solar farms and all the things that are required, they haven't indicated how they plan to do that and whether or not that produces some confidence in the industries responsible for building all of those to invest. This is the problem that they have, and they won't be able to tell us. And, we don't know. They're not in government. So whatever their ideas aren't going to be implemented. We're not going to know whether they're going to be real or not, simply because they haven't any way of proving that they will be. But there is an interesting feedback that I thought that Sky News got from my friend, my buddy Pauline Hanson. So I'm just going to play this little clip for you as well, I guess because it kind of just amuses me.
Discuss this round and round, but now it's happened. The Liberal Party have finally decided to officially dump net zero by 2050 targets following months of debate.
The Liberal Party will remove a net zero target from our policy. And if elected, we will remove the 43% 2030 target and its net zero by 2050 target.
The move was well.
And this is where I just love Rowan Dean becoming extremely excited by this, and he's excited by it, but he doesn't understand how Pauline Hanson might respond.
Welcomed by their coalition partners, the Nationals.
The Liberal Party has shown great maturity and leadership to the extent of where the National Party put forward a cheaper, better, fairer plan.
But, and this is the big but, the Liberals will remain in the Paris Agreement.
Paris is about a global agreement to bring down temperatures and reduce emissions. That's exactly what we propose to do. And we will look Australians in the eye and say, this is a plan to bring down emissions and to provide affordable energy for you.
We don't know what the plan is, incidentally, Susan, but nevertheless.
So, Pauline, I want to start.
So here we go with the bit I was trying to allude to earlier, where he gets excited about all of this and he asks Pauline about it, and she responds appropriately.
With you, is this good news? I've been in a celebratory mood. Do you join my celebrations?
No, get over it.
No, get over it. I love it. No, I don't. And then Pauline goes on to this rant again, not knowing what in the hell she's talking about.
But Rowan, it's not going to happen. What a hypocritical statement it is. They're sitting on the blasted fence. They still want their emissions. They still want the Paris Agreement. They still want to address climate change. For Christ,
they still want their emissions. What the fuck is she talking about? What emissions? She wants.
For God's sake, let's deal with the whole thing. Is climate changing? Yes, it is. Is it due to carbon emissions? No, it's not.
No, it isn't. Whoa. Okay. Pauline, the great climate change advocate, the person who understands climate change like nobody else on this planet. Tell us.
And that's the whole crux of the matter. One Nation has set the agenda here, Rowan. We've actually said right from the beginning.
So I love the way it was the Nationals saying they've set the agenda and that the Liberals have followed, and One Nation are now saying that they have. So I guess they must have to find a way to fight over this amongst themselves, because no one really knows what to do with this problem apart from Labor Party, or at least, well, they're in power, so they can do it, I guess, but they're the ones who are creating the infrastructure that will be required for us to have cheaper fuel. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, remember to subscribe to my channel, ring the bell for further notifications, because here on the Tony Tonkin Show, facts matter.